Hey guys, V8's here with another video review. Up for review today we have the latest release by a Japanese company called Max Limited. This is the Colossal Titan from the anime series Attack on Titan. This is part of what they call the Ultimate Modeling Collection figure. Honestly, I don't know what that means, but it's a Japanese company, so go figure. So let's start by looking at the box. The box is pretty straightforward. It's made of a glossy black material with a graphic of the statue on the top. On the sides you will find pictures of the actual statue, and on the upper boxy side you will find just a script with the statue's name. Opening the box was a pleasant surprise. I found that the foam was wrapped in a ribbon, as you can see in the picture, and honestly it's a nice touch. Unfortunately, when I opened up my box I found that the statue was broken at the left elbow. However, we'll cover that more when I look into the issues of the statue. But this is more or less what you get. The statue comes in about 4 main pieces. So let's start with the assembly. Presuming you got everything okay, assembly of the statue is pretty straightforward. One warning though, it is a pretty heavy statue, so my recommendation is once you assemble it, make sure you have it in the place that you've set out for it to be displayed there, as moving it after assembly would be a bit tough. Like I said, assembly is pretty straightforward. The first thing would be to install the statue into the base. It pegs in quite nicely, just be a bit patient. Next you would attach the right arm to the main body, followed by the left wall, and finally the right wall. Before we go on with the review, I need to mention that the statue arrived to me in broken condition, and I immediately contacted the vendor that I bought it from, in this case Hobbylink Japan. Unfortunately, I could not get a replacement because this was sold out, and it turned out to be a very rare statue to find. So they offered me a partial refund to keep what I have and attempt fixing myself. The good news is, as you can see from the video, I managed to successfully fix it. There's a bit of damage that you can still see, but for the larger part I was able to fix the statue, and I would not let that incident affect my opinion over the overall statue. So let's start with the review. To begin with, this is an absolute beast. It is an attention grabber, even for people who are not fans of the anime. This is a striking piece. The statue is fully sculpted, there's no mixed media on it. The statue weighs about 17 kgs, so like I said, it's heavy, but it is well justified. Max Limited is a company out of Japan, and once I got this figure I started looking into the history, because I presumed it's a new company. Turns out the company has actually been in existence since mid-70s. They have done a lot of statues, however they usually concentrate on the smaller scale. Of the popular franchises that they have right now is Naruto. So if you are a fan of Naruto figures, I'm sure you've seen some of their work earlier. Again, like I said, this statue is based off the Attack on Titan anime, which is quite popular these days. And if you haven't checked it out and you're a fan of anime, I would definitely recommend that you do. It's a really interesting story and worth your time. The statue stands about 22 inches tall. The detail on the statue is simply at another level, on par, honestly, with what we've seen from the few Japanese companies that produce statues. The only negative is they are somewhat hard to find. I picked this up from Hobby Link Japan, and it cost me shipped about $650. This was retailing at Big Bad Toy Store in the US for about $640 alone. So they're not cheap, but again, in my opinion, they're well justified in terms of price. So what are my likes in this statue? First off, I would say the head sculpt, a really nice piece. Next would be all the detail that's gone into the muscle anatomy. It is truly a sight to behold. I also really like the way everything was painted along with the shading. The Titan is basically a body without the skin, so it's not an easy paint by any means, and Max Limited really knocked this one out of the ballpark. Another thing I like about the statue is the dynamic pose. It really conveys the anime well in terms of the Titan breaking into the wall, and it's a welcome approach from the usual static poses that we get from other companies. Last but not least, I would also like to commend the base and how it integrates with the statue. Again, a welcome change from the bland bases that we sometimes get, and the bases that are more or less forgettable. This is on par with, in terms of detail, with the CinemaCat bases that we get with the more expensive statues. The detail on the base, again, like the overall statue, is simply commendable. So what do I do not like about the statue? There's not much, but I'll have to mention it anyway. One is the right arm simply pegs into the body, and it's not held on by a magnet. And while it does a good job of staying in position, it's a bit loose, and there's a gap that can be noticed if you look close enough. The next issue I have is the packing, and this is one of the reasons I think that my statue arrived broken. The statue is put in a position where the elbow is facing the foam, and it's a snug fit. And inevitably, if the statue is jerked around during transit, which will happen if you ship a statue around the world, some pressure will be put on the elbow, and it will eventually break. So I think that companies need to start putting more attention into their statues. Sales are no longer limited to the region in which you're selling to. These statues are being sold all around the world. The hobby is getting more and more universal. So a bit more attention to packaging and detail will go a long way. And a commendable company in this segment in terms of packaging would be XM Studios. I would really urge other companies to look at the way XM packages their statues, because it's a role model that they should take into consideration. So what's the final verdict on this statue? Given the minute flaws that I mentioned a bit earlier, this is a statue that I highly recommend. If you're a fan of the anime, this is the only quarter scale example statue that I could find out there, and to our luck, it is simply an amazing piece. Unfortunately, at the time of this video, this statue is more or less sold out everywhere, but I'm sure if you look hard enough, you might be able to find one. Look in the Asian region more than the US, because I'm sure the US retailers only got a few examples and they would be expensive to acquire. Overall, I would rate this statue as a solid 95. A definite must buy if you're a fan of the anime. If you're a statue collector in general, then I still recommend that you look into this statue, just because of all the insane details that and workmanship that were put into this statue. That's about it, guys. I would like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, may I request you to like, comment and subscribe. I welcome feedback, and I'm always looking for ways to improve my videos. And till I see you next time, this is V8 tuning out.